302, summer semester 203. Okay, do you see the syllabus? Shabab?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the syllabus. You must read this syllabus carefully. We will be using the book by Zill in most of the sections, but in subsections, some sections, we will use elements of electrodynamics by Sadiku, Oxford Press. These are course objectives, course content, learning outcomes, exam 1, final exam, and quizzes. I have some suggested problems for you. You must solve them, but I don't think I will be able to get a grader in this summer semester. So I'm not putting any homework here. Exam 1, final exam and quizzes. In date and time and place and material, nothing is written because the date and time will be set by the registrar office. Since I don't know what is date and time, so I cannot decide what should be the material for midterm and final. Final, of course, it will be comprehensive, but exam 1 material, it depends on the date which is set by the registrar. As soon as I get the date for midterm, I will tell you what will be material for exam 1. Final will be comprehensive, but again, I will let you know about the material. I will give you 6 quizzes. Each quiz is 5%, which is a too much weight for a quiz. In normal regular class, on campus class, I give quizzes with at most 2% for each quiz. Now here, since I'm not giving you homework, so I'll give you minimum 6 quiz. I'm saying minimum 6 quiz. If time allows and you guys are agreed, I will give you maybe 7 quizzes. Or maybe 8. I don't know. It depends. But I will choose best 6 quizzes for the classwork. And these quizzes will be online, either multiple choice or calculated formula type questions. Exam questions will be based on examples, homework problems. I'm saying homework problems, it should be suggested problems and exercises in the textbook. And then we have misconduct in exam, if you miss an exam, attendance, all these policies. Here I have written important problems. These are important problems. You must try to solve them, at least solve these problems. Maybe more. Actually, should be more. Here you see, for example, on this page, in the third week, we have chapter 2 and chapter 3. I'm not writing a section number, I'm writing chapter 2 and chapter 3. Now, this chapter 2 and chapter 3 here, and also again chapter 4 in fourth week. These are 3 chapters, 2, 3, and 4, which will be taught from the second book, Elements of Electrodynamics. Do you have your textbook?
No.
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 Okay, what I will do, I have this textbook here, Maslan, this one, you see. Do you see this section 7.6 vector spaces?
Yes.
Yes, you can see.
So this is the book. I will upload this book in Google Drive, and from there you can download it in your computer for the time being. I think what does university do these days? Do they send you books by mail?
Yeah, but it will take time.
It will take time. That is why.
A regular semester, they take 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, so that is too much time. We cannot wait. So I will upload this book in Google Drive, and from there you can download it into your computer. Okay.
Which one is this? Is the electrodynamics or the first book?
No, this is the main textbook, and I think I also have those chapter 2, 3, and 4. If not, I will get it and also upload those chapters onto the Google Drive. Now,
thank you, Doctor.
With the syllabus, any question you have about the syllabus so far? These quizzes, I'm telling you, Shabab, again, these quizzes, you need to take them very seriously because their weightage is not 10% or 15%. It is 30%. A big, huge weightage for the quizzes. So don't think them as a quizzes, just think them as class tests. And you must take them seriously.
Doctor?
Yeah.
Is the quizzes will be written like the midterm and final
No.
multiple choice?
Midterm and final will be written. That will be on campus. You need to come here to take the exam. That will be arranged by the university. Now, the quizzes will be through Blackboard online, not written, either MCQ or formula based. Any calculations, just like a written question, but you need to enter your final answer. Maybe it depends on the material. If material is such that it is difficult to make formula based or MCQ exam quiz, I will give you a written quiz. For the written quiz, you need to solve, scan it by your mobile, and make a PDF and attach that PDF in the Blackboard, not by email. I think you have done this somewhere before and you know how to do this. Is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, most of you, they know this. If someone does not know, we can help him. Okay. Any other question? I think for most of you, this is the last math course you are taking. Am I right?
Yes.
And after this, you will be graduating. Now, let me tell you one thing, Shiva, which happened this semester, and it also happened many semesters before. Many times this thing happened. We have 32 students in the class now, and I hope that all 32 students, they are listening me. It's not that you just log in and then go somewhere and do something else. No, you should be very attentive during the class. Listen everything I say. Shubham, in this previous semester and before, I have seen many students, they are literally very much worried, crying that they are going to be dismissed from the university. Their GPA is low. So many problems they write me. And I reply them as I should, and it is the university policy or rule that your grade does not depend on your need, that what do you need and what do you want. It depends on your performance. If your performance is good, I cannot give you a bad grade. If your performance is bad, I cannot give you a good grade. I don't give you anything from my side. Nothing. I give you only the lecture. Whatever grade you get is based on your performance in the course. So this is not just a matter of one course. This is a matter of your future. Just passing a course is not enough, because when your employer, where you will get your job after completing your degree, your employer will look your transcript, your grades. And if there are many C's and D's in your transcript, they will reject it in the first step maybe. And you are mature enough, you know this. Okay, Abdullah Muhammad, are you there?
الباقر دكتور.
Yes, yes, you. Actually, in your icon, there is a little X with your AA, and with the others, there is a red dot, a little red dot. So it says for red dot, it says in a call. A call mean in this meeting or some other call? I don't know what does this mean.
This meeting.
This meeting.
Yeah, you can't have two calls at the same time.
So with Abdullah, it was saying, Abdullah, why it is saying offline?
Because I bought it like that, Dixon.
Sorry?
I bought it like that. I can't change it if you want.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you are there. I thought maybe you have some difficulty. Okay. So if you do not have any question about this syllabus, then let us start. But the syllabus is in the Google Drive, so I will put everything, Maslan, solution of the quizzes and books, and this is syllabus and your results with your ID only in the Google Drive. So keep this link of Google Drive safe with you. Okay. Do you see this OneNote screen or it is not shared?
Not shared.
Not shared. So let me share this OneNote screen now. Where it is? Yes, here. I will be writing these notes live with you when I'm teaching. But here, for the first lecture, since I have to tell you about the syllabus and some other rules, and it took 10 minutes. So just to save my time, I wrote this. Now you can see section 7.6 vector spaces. The OneNote. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. Now, first of all, you know, so far you have seen ordered pairs or ordered triples in 2-dimension and 3-dimension. But in general, in mathematics, we can go to in any dimension. Let's say n is the dimension. So what is n tuple? N tuple is a vector with n components. N components. And it is written as, I'm not putting a vector because it is not like a regular vector, but just a bar equal to less than a1 comma a2 comma up to an greater than symbol. So this is the symbol which we will be using to write a vector in n-dimensional space. And a1, a2, a3, ai, they are real numbers and are called components of this vector. We will be saying these vectors, but don't think these vectors as regular vectors like you see in 2-dimension and 3-dimension. We are working in n-dimension. We cannot visualize these vectors. Okay. Now, what is n space? When we put all these n tuples in a set, then we call it n space. So far, we are not calling it a vector space, just n space. And the symbol notation we will be using is Rn. Rn. We do not read it R power n, just Rn. With there's two legs of R, just to make it a different notation than a regular R. Now, in vector spaces, in spaces, we have many different things like a space of polynomials of degree n, a space of n tuples, and in n tuples we can have many different type of addition and multiplication defined. But in this course, we have to study only the space of n tuples. In the space of n tuples, the regular addition and scalar multiplication is defined like you are seeing here on screen. If we have A and B two vectors in n space and k is a some scalar. When we say scalar, we mean a real number, mean not a vector. Then their addition and scalar multiplication is the addition and scalar multiplication which you have seen in some other course before this, a regular addition, or let's say component-wise addition. Yani first component of vector A is added in first component of vector B, comma, second component of A plus second component of B, and so on. Similarly, when we multiply this vector A by a real number k, we have ka1, ka2, and up to kan. So this is addition and scalar multiplication, regular addition and scalar multiplication. And also we have a zero vector in n tuples with all components 0. This is a zero vector. Magnitude of a vector is same you have studied in 2-dimension or 3-dimension, magnitude of a vector, but here in n dimension, we instead of magnitude, we will be using a name called norm. Norm of a vector is a1 square plus a2 square plus dot 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 plus an square and whole square root. And we can make a vector a unit vector by dividing it with its magnitude. And the dot product, which we will say now From now on, we will be saying as a inner product is same like we define in 2-dimension or 3-dimension, A1 B1 plus A2 B2 plus so on up to AN BN. And we call two vectors orthogonal if their dot product is 0. Same like in 2D or 3D. So far, up to now, if you have any question about any of these things, tell me. Any question, Shibam? Okay.
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
What is the difference between the n space and the n triple or n tuple? Is it the n space is more general?
N space is a set of all n tuples. N tuple is one thing, a vector with n components, right?
Yes.
And n space is the set of all n tuples. When we collect all n tuples and put them in a set, we say it is n space. Actually, it should be called a set. So far, we are not defining any like property of a vector space. So we are calling it a space, not a vector space. So n tuple is something, a vector which has n components. And when we collect all those n tuples and put them in a set, we call it n space. And in n space, we defined two operations. One is addition, other is scalar multiplication. And also we define what is a zero vector, which we also call as identity. Identity with respect to this addition. And what is magnitude, what is unit vector, what is dot product, we define them. Now this is the page which you are seeing now. I copy and paste it from the book because this is exactly the same thing I need to explain and you need to know. Let V be a set of elements on which two operations of vector addition and scalar multiplication are defined. Like we have Rn previously, you have seen this. Then, so this is a set. V is a set like Rn. Then we say that this V is a vector space if the members of V satisfy these following 10 properties. Number 1, if you take any two vectors in V, then their sum should be in V. If you take any two vectors in V, then these two vectors satisfy the commutative property, yani x plus y equal to y plus x. They also satisfy associative property that x plus y plus z is same as x plus y and then plus z. There is a unique vector 0 in V such that when you add this 0 vector to any other vector, there is no change in the other vector. It is 0 vector, which is also called as identity vector. In addition, in a regular addition, identity is 0, and in regular multiplication, identity is. Can someone tell me what is identity? What is the number which you multiply by any number and there is no change in that number?
1.
So under multiplication, identity is a 1. Under addition, identity vector is 0 vector. Since we defined previously the addition and scalar multiplication, you know the difference. Multiplication is another thing and scalar multiplication is another thing. In n tuples, we will not have a regular multiplication. We will have a special product, which is dot product. I just defined it. Now, for each, and there will be no cross product. No cross product. Dot product or a scalar product. Now number 5 is that if we have a vector x in V, then there should also be a vector negative x in V, such that when they add together, they give us the identity vector, yani 0 vector. So every vector has a negative of it, which we say additive inverse or inverse of a vector. Now, with respect to addition, inverse is a negative of x. With respect to multiplication, inverse of a number is its reciprocal. For example, inverse of 2 is 1 over 2. When you multiply 2 with 1 over 2, you get identity, which is 1. But that is not part of the syllabus here. If it is, then I could also explain you that operation. Now, so these are 5 axioms which are related to addition. Any sum of any 2 vectors in V is also in V. For any 2 vectors in V, their sum is in V. And those vectors of V satisfy commutative law, associative law. There is identity in V. Addition identity or identity with respect to addition. There is a inverse or negative of every vector in V. Also, if K is a scalar and X is in V, then their scalar product is also in V. This scalar product satisfies distributive law. K multiply X plus Y is the same as Kx plus Ky. And also another distributive law where a vector is distributed over scalars. K1 plus K2 multiplied by X is K1X plus K2X. And K1, first you multiply X by K2 and then you multiply by K1 is same as you multiply K1 and K2 first and then multiply by X. And also 1 multiply X is the same X. These are 5 axioms. If total 10 properties, all these properties are satisfied, then this set become a vector space. Before it is a set, but if members of the set satisfy these properties, then it becomes a vector space. Now, set of n tuples with regular addition and scalar multiplication satisfy all these properties and it is a vector space. But here we will be seeing some special, say, kind of tuples with some special multiplications or scalar multiplications or addition defined. For example, the space Rn is a vector space. You can verify all these 10 axioms for Rn. Question number 1 in your book is set of all vectors with the 2 components. You know, our main, say here, topic is, or say main thing we need to study is Rn. Now this n is a positive integer. It can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 100, whatever it is. So in question 1, n is 2. Now this is a special set of vectors with 2 components, A1, A2, where each component is greater or equal to 0. Okay. Now, for this set to be a vector space, it need to satisfy all 10 properties, axioms. But the set will not be a vector space if any of them is not satisfied. So from this condition A1 greater equal to 0, A2 greater equal to 0, you can at once notice, okay, if A is in this set, then it's negative of A will have the component negative A1 comma negative A2 and negative A1 comma negative A2. Both these components, they will be less equal to 0. So for this set, if you take any vector in this set, then negative of that vector will not be in this set because it does not satisfy the condition of being positive. So it is not a vector space. Tell me if any step is not clear in question number 1. Anything not clear?
Doctor,
Yeah.
I don't understand why minus a vector is not in the space.
Yes.
Because the minus before is we can't isolate it from the testing.
No, look, the condition for this vectors for this set, the condition for this set is that all components are greater or equal to 0. Mazboot?
Yes.
But if you take a negative of vector, then can you say that all the components of this negative A are greater or equal to 0?
No.
No. So this cannot be in the set. And let me go above. You see number 5 here. What do you see? For each x in V, there exists a vector negative x. Yani there is another vector negative x in V which satisfy this property that x plus negative x is 0. Now here x plus negative x, that will give us 0, but we do not have a negative x or negative of this vector inside this set. So we cannot take it. It is not there.
Because of the condition.
Because of the condition, exactly. You will see some other more interesting conditions in question number 2. Do you see question number 2 now?
Yes.
The set of vectors. Now we have another set of vectors, A1 comma A2. Now in this set, the condition is that second component is equal to 3 times first component plus 1. Yani 3A1 plus A1. 3A1 plus 1. So every vector in V should satisfy this condition. For example, if first component is 2, what should be second component?
7.
7. If first component is 5, second component should be
16.
16. So this is the condition. This is not a regular R2. This is a special set of vectors. Or let me say a set of special vectors. Those vectors which satisfy this condition. Now, when you take two vectors in this set, A bar and B bar, then are two vectors in this set, then A2 should be equal to 3A1 plus 1 and B2 should also be equal to 3B1 plus 1. Every vector in this set satisfies this condition. Now we need to check their sum. When we add them together, we get A bar plus B bar equal to A1 plus B1 comma A2 plus B2. Now in this sum, A bar plus B bar, A2 plus B2 should be satisfying the same condition, should satisfy the same condition. But A2 plus B2 is equal to 3A1 plus 1 plus 3B1 plus 1, which is equal to 3 bracket A1 plus B1 plus 2. But according to condition, it should be plus 1, not plus 2. So it is not satisfying the condition. to be in the vector space. Here, now I have, say, rotated this screen. Now you see more. Here I saw one mistake. The last line here is 3b1 plus 1. 3. Come on. Why you are doing this? B1 plus 1. Yani it is not equal to 3 times first component plus 1. A2 plus B2 is equal to 3 times first component plus 2. But condition says it should be plus 1. So sum of two vectors, or let us say addition, is not defined for this set. So it is not a vector space. Similarly, you can see some other questions in your book. Okay, let me ask any question before I go further.
Doctor,
Yeah.
why it supposed to be +1, not +2?
It is given condition. The given condition, the set in this vector, like I asked you, what are, for example, what are vectors in this set? If A1 is 1, then A2 will be 4. So 1, 4, 2, 7, 3, 10, 4, 16. So these are vectors. Now, if you take any two vectors in this set and you add them together, then the condition, what is condition? I have written here. Second component is equal to 3 times first component plus 1. This plus 1 is important here. But when we take two vectors in this set, we add them together, then their second component is equal to 3 times the first component plus 2. But according to the condition, it should be plus 1. You get it?
Yes.
So it is not in V, therefore V is not a vector space. Or it is not in the set, therefore the set is not a vector space. Okay.
The component or the combination between two sets, it's not a vector space.
No, the sum of two vectors in this set, the sum of two vectors in this set should also be in this set.
Okay.
But when we check this, it is not satisfying the condition of the set. So it is not in this set. Therefore, this set does not satisfy this property number 1 you are seeing now, that if X and Y are in V, then their sum is also in V. But for question number 2, sum of two vectors in this set is not in this set. Why it is not in this set? Because it does not satisfy the condition. Mazboot?
Mazboot.
Very good.
So
Now,
you mean that
Yeah.
vector? Sorry, but you mean that vector A and vector B, all of them is under an untable. So the untable is not a vector space.
Again, A and B we are taking from the set.
Yes.
But when we add them, the
We find
sum
it's
of
not.
these two vectors should be in the set, but it is not.
Mm.
Why it is not? Because in this sum of two vectors, the second component is not equal to 3 times first component plus 1. It is actually 3 times first component plus 2. but we need 1.
Yeah, it's understood now. Yeah, I understand.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, next thing we have in our syllabus, there are many things in this section 7.6, but we will study only Rn. Now, this is a general definition for any vector space, so it is also for Rn. What is this? If a subset W of a vector space V is itself a vector space under the same operation of vector addition and scalar multiplication. You have a big vector space V. You have a big vector space V. Now you take a small subset W of this vector space V. We are taking a subset of a vector space V. Now, if this W is also a vector space under the same operation of addition and vector scalar multiplication, under the same operations of vector addition and scalar multiplication, if W is also a vector space, then W is called a subspace of V, because before it was subset. Now, if it by itself is also a vector space, meaning W also satisfies those 10 axioms, then W is also a vector space. If it is a vector space, then what is the relation between W and V? W becomes a subspace of V. No. Should we check all the axioms for a subspace? Remember, V is a vector space. V is a vector space. This is the condition. Now, the criteria, we will not be checking all those 10 axioms. We will be checking only 2 basic properties. Theorem 7.6.1. A non-empty subset W of a vector space V is a subspace of V if and only if W is closed under vector addition and scalar multiplication. What does this mean? W is closed under vector addition and scalar multiplication. This means that if you take any 2 vectors in W, their sum is also in W. Like written number 1, if X and Y are in W, then X plus Y is also in W. We call this as W is closed under vector addition. So let me ask you, in question number 2, is this a set closed under vector addition or not closed under vector addition?
Not closed.
Not closed. Very good. So you understand what does this mean? Closed under vector addition, that sum of 2 vectors is also in W. And it is also closed under scalar multiplication. Closed under scalar multiplication mean that if you multiply any vector in W by a scalar K, then this scalar product or scalar multiplication is also in W. All right. So these, first is the definition and second is the criteria to check if a subset W of a vector space V is also a subspace of V. I have done here question number 21. You need to do question 22 and 23, I think, in your book. Now, what is this question 21? We are in 3-dimensional space, a regular space, the space in which we are living. Then this set S is the collection of all those points which satisfy this condition. X is equal to AT, Y is BT, Z is CT. Now, What is x equal to at, y equal to bt, z equal to ct? These points, they are on a straight line. If you remember Math 201, which is a prerequisite for this course, you must have taken that before. Section 12.5, lines and planes. This x equal to at, y equal to bt, z equal to ct are parametric equations of a straight line passing through the origin. Here a, b, c are some fixed real numbers. T is a parameter. T is a parameter. Yani we take different values of t and get x, y, and z. When we plot them, when we plot these x, y, z for different values of t, we will get points on a straight line in 3 dimensions. So tell me if you understood this question.
Doctor,
Yes.
I don't understand the W and V, the whole the concept of it.
Subspace?
So is V in W or which
No.
which-
Read here what is written. Definition. If W, if a subset W of a vector space V. So what is the relation between W and V? W is a, you tell me, W is a, yeah, Shabab.
I still don't understand it.
If
Subset,
yani here W is a, you know, you use this symbol for subset. You remember? Yani W is a subset of V. W is inside V.
Oh, okay.
Like Maslan, if I try to explain you using Venn diagram, for example, do you see this red color circle?
Yes.
This is V. And then do you see this green color box?
Yes.
This is W. So W is a subset of V. Okay. Now, if the members of W, what is inside W, if those members, components of W, or say elements of W, also satisfy the 10 axioms of a vector space. If W also satisfies these 10 properties, then W becomes a vector space. If W satisfies those 10 conditions, then W becomes what? A vector space. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what is the relation between W and V? What we will call W of V? Subspace of V. We will call W. Before it was a subset. But if W satisfies those conditions, from subset, its rank is improved. Now it becomes a subspace. Not every set is a space. Not every set is a vector space. Now, when W becomes a vector space, it is called subspace of V. Tell me if it is clear now.
It is clear.
Yeah. Now, how to check that a subset W of a vector space V? We are not saying a subset W of a set V. No, V is lazim. V must be a vector space, and W is a subset. Now, for this subset to be a subspace, W is a subset. How can this W be a subspace if it satisfies these 2 conditions? What are these 2 conditions? That sum of any 2 vectors in W is again in W. if a vector x in W and k is a scalar, then the scalar multiplication, scalar product is also in W. So we call it W is closed under vector addition and scalar multiplication. So if W is closed under addition and scalar multiplication, and W is also a subset of V, after satisfying these two conditions, W becomes a subspace of V. Is it clear now, or still there is something?
Yes, clear.
Very good. Now, we are living in three-dimensional space, 3D space. And from that space, we are taking a subset. We are taking a subset S. Now, what are the points? What are the points x, y, z in this subset? They are the points which are on the line. Yani, if you take a line in three-dimensional space, then set of all points on the line are also points in 3D space. But if we make a set S of all points which are only on the line, not outside the line, the set of all points on the line. How many points we have on the line?
Infinity.
Infinitely many. So if we have this set S, which is a collection of all points on the line, then this set is a subset of this whole 3D space. Now we need to show that if this set is a subspace of three-dimensional space also. Before it is a subset. Now we need to show it is also a subspace. Okay, just give me a second. Let me here download the attendance sheet. Now I'm back here. Now I have written here clearly all points on a line x equal to at, y equal to bt, z equal to ct. All points on the line form a subset of R3. So S, which is collection of all points on a line, S is a subset of R3. This is the first thing it should be. Second, with red dot, you take 2 points in S. So those 2 points are on the line. Those 2 points are on the line. 1 point x1, x2, x3. Sorry, it should not be like this. It should be, why you do this? It should be x1, y1, z1. Z1. So x1, y1, z1 is a point on the line. So for some value of t, we can write x1 as at1, y1 as bt1, and z as ct1. So for some value of t, say t equal to 5. We have another point on the line, yani in set S. So that point can also be written as a, and now the parameter value of t is a different one. So let's say it is t2. So x2 is at2, y2 is bt2, z2 is ct2. And when we add them together, we get a times t1 plus t2, b times t1 plus t2, c times t1 plus t2. So x is a bracket t1 plus t2, y is b bracket t1 plus t2, z is c bracket t1 plus t2. So this point is also on the line. for another value of the parameter, which is T1 plus T2. So it satisfies the condition for a point to be on the line. Therefore, the sum of 2 points on the line is also on the line. Similarly, scalar multiplication. If we multiply any point on the line by a scalar, then this scalar multiplication, scalar product is another point which is on the line. So it also satisfies the scalar multiplication condition, second condition. So once this set S satisfies these two conditions, it becomes a subspace of R3. So before S was a subset of R3, now it is a subspace of R3. After this, I have explained here linear independence and basis of a vector. You read it. I will spend maybe 5-6 minutes for this thing and then go to the next section in the syllabus tomorrow, inshallah. Try to be online exactly at 9:20 so that we do not waste a minute, even a minute, okay, for waiting. If you have any other question, I'm here. If no other question, you can leave.
Doctor,
Yes.
when you will gonna add us to the teams?
Actually, it should be done by the university. So since they have not done this so far, I will ask them, but just keep that link safe. Okay. And even if till tomorrow they do not add you, you try this link and will join this meeting.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
But I will ask them to join, to make you a member of this team.
Because until now there's no team.
Okay,
For
so
math.
there will be, inshallah. I will ask them.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, guys, see you tomorrow, inshallah. Take care.
Doctor,
Yes.
I have a question about the lines. Are the L1 and L2 are the same line in the space or are different?
Okay. Here.
Or we don't focus on the space?
No. You pointed out a very good thing. It should be L, not two different lines, same line. L.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not two different lines, same line. Okay, guys.
So T is different from the beginning and end.
Right. Exactly. If you go to section 12.5 of Math 201, you will see the parametric equations of a straight line. Now, how can we have different points on a line? We can have different points on a line by choosing different values of a t.